So hey, it's the fifth day, and today, um, I think I've got some kind of like change. I had to wake up. A friend asked me to do some little work, not for money, but just related to something that might lead to some clients. My wife went to the bank, and I was like, go and see if they have any kind of deal related to economic shutdown for Thailand, and no deal. Just basically, yeah, sure. If you don't want to pay your loan payments, because she has a home loan that she's been paying off for years, which is now for me to pay off too, and if you don't want to pay off, you can pay more interest, and then it won't look. You'll have that record where you miss payments and blah 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 blah. So basically, there's no. That was just the standard kind of thing. Nothing new. No special offer or directive has come to our banks the way it may start to come in Australia, America. So anyway, I and then I was just like, I had an interview with someone that was about my past experiences with in Buddhism. That was quite fun in a sort of not fun way, but fun because he had experiences from before in the same organization, and he was telling me his experiences, and it was just nice to talk to someone. So that was very nice for me to spend a couple of hours with someone talking. And then on top of that, I was looking at Bitcoin. I've been trying to like re-enter a little bit of Bitcoin position because I mean all the markets collapsed, and of course I it didn't do well for me. Let me just say that. What small investment I had took a hit. So today I was like looking at it and thinking, well, I feel like it's going to do this. So I took a little trade, and maybe I've paid for half my rent so far today, and so I feel like it's a little bit like I only have a tiny account because I can't afford to lose money. But if I can do well, I mean, trading is one of those things where you get pummeled for years before you really learn your lessons. A lot of people who are successful at it have lost obscene amounts of money, and they usually have stories like exactly this kind of, oh, I was going great until the market crashed, and then that was the end of me, you know. So many of them, no matter how smart and knowledgeable they are. Like there was one guy who was a kind of a bit of a mathematical guru who I would take his opinion of what's happening, you know, investments, companies, hedge funds that started to accumulate Bitcoin, and there's various ways of knowing that, and he's running a hedge fund, you know. So then I read a few days back, oh, he got wiped out. So much for him being any smarter than anyone else, and the whole hedge fund. I mean, when I miscalculated what kind of huge volatility could come, you know, I mean, it was a black swan event. Well, so did obviously he. He probably had this, oh, there's no way this can happen, and that was what happened. So anyway, I didn't get wiped out. I have some, and I'm using it today, and I'm taking on risk is what trading is called. You get paid for putting your money in as an investment over a long time or over a short time in what they call a swing trade, or an even shorter time, maybe an intraday trade. And sometimes I do it because I don't have any other choice to make income. and that's how I feel a little bit. But rather than just lie down on the couch feeling sad for myself, because I was looking at the market and going, I think I can see I can see what's going to happen now. I thought, well, why not take that trade? So I did, and I was right. And now I'm in a second trade that's in a I'm not as certain about. And yeah, just it's not that I care that much about making a little money here or there as much, obviously I care, but I care more about just that fighting spirit, not fighting people, but fighting back against powerlessness. If you don't have a job, if you can't find clients, if you can't get Patreon subscribers, if you're not, what you're doing or talking about isn't what they're interested in, then you have to adapt. You have to just take what opportunities you can, and when you take on risk, either you win or lose. I mean, it might mean that if I lose too much on that account and it does come to an end, I have to stop trading. But the money that I have for trading is money that I made out of trading. I spent the money I started with many times over. And what's in there is a residual. I mean, it was much bigger before before everything crashed out. But it's not empty. And actually, I still do have a lot of the money because I withdrew it from trading, because I needed it just to show that I can take care of my wife and get the married visa and come back to Thailand. So I had to take it out and put it in my bank and show them, look, I have this money, and sometimes I have income from working. But now that I have the visa, I can choose to put it back into the investments. And I will say that I did say on my Facebook, I said, I'm not going to tell anyone to buy now, it's too high, and now I wouldn't say necessarily you should buy now either. But what I would say is, if you even put in $100 to Bitcoin, just looking at the way governments are printing money to try and fight their way themselves out of their situation, to artificially manipulate their stock prices back into what looks good, even though the economic truth is different altogether. Or they might call it a protective action. They might consider that they're defending something. That just destroys the value of those currencies. You can't effectively add another like X percent, 20% of dollars, and expect those dollars to be worth the same by next year. They'd probably be 20% less worth value. The rest of the world will devalue it. And oil also massively went down in price because of a bit of an oil trade war. So a lot of the American dollar was based on the value of oil, so that's not good. So all I'm saying is that economically, whether it's in 1 year or 5 years, Bitcoin is not something that you can just print free. So that's why it was designed for this. And so people have been speculating on it, waiting for disaster to happen. So the disaster has happened, and governments are doing what economically you would call a disaster, even though it's a humanitarian thing. They're doing what banana republics do, which is just print more money because you run out of money. So those banana republics end up with a very tiny amount of money, because they end up, having hyperinflation. And the truth is that's what a lot of people believe is happening to the American dollar too. So we'll see. Nothing is simple. Just because people say, like, just because people say it's good to buy Bitcoin because of this doesn't mean that it's good now. It could end up going way down and then coming way up. If it's a good investment, the price will often be the opposite. It'll go downwards because they want to make it look like a bad investment. It's almost like if Bitcoin goes up and gold goes up, that's an indication that something's wrong with the dollar. So then, because they have a lot of money to trade with, they can suppress the prices. They can manipulate the prices of gold and Bitcoin. And then later on, they can like suddenly just spike very fast, and and nobody gets a chance to get in because they've all given up on it, and then it goes for a long ride, so it's very complicated trading and investing. I'm not trying to give you advice, but putting small amounts that you can afford to lose is the idea of that is hedging. So you can use Bitcoin as a hedge, but it's going to take you, it could be 1 year, but it might be 6 months, it might be multiple years, but you might be happy that you had an alternative form of money in the future. So that's what I was thinking on that. I don't like to talk about it. I don't want to suggest people invest unless they know what they're doing. And what else? Should I play a bit of guitar? I think I'm just going to say goodbye for today. It's all about business, getting things done, and trying to sort of adjust myself to things that I needed to do today rather than just sit around. But I will play around with my guitar, and if I have something to show, I'll record that and add that to this. So see you tomorrow.